In the boundless expanse of the cosmos, where spiral galaxies paint a magnificent tapestry of life, lies the Orionis Galaxy. This is a thriving hub of knowledge, technology, and power, where thousands of civilizations flourish, each boasting its own unique characteristics and proud heritage. From mighty warrior races commanding colossal starfleets to advanced scientific civilizations with reality-altering inventions, Orionis is a diverse mosaic of power and intellect. However, hidden amidst this splendor, often overlooked and forgotten, is a planet named Etheria. This is the home of the Etherian race, a unique people burdened by a physical curse. The Etherians are renowned for their ethereal, almost transparent appearance, with softly glowing skin and deep, soulful eyes that reflect an ancient wisdom and a keen ability to perceive cosmic energies. They possess an innate gift to deeply sense the subtle vibrations of the universe, to hear the whispered currents of the stars and the flow of time, and even to feel the emotions of other beings from vast distances. This telepathic ability allows them to connect with each other without words, forming a harmonious and profound community. Yet, this very non-physical ability comes with a crucial weakness: they are incredibly fragile physically. Etherians possess no discernible muscle mass, lack the strength to wield weapons or engage in any form of direct combat. Even carrying light objects is a significant challenge for them. This fragility leads them to be constantly scorned, even ostracized, by other races. In the eyes of powerful civilizations that venerate physical strength and destructive technology, Etherians are merely delicate, useless creatures, a burden no one wishes to associate with or protect. They are pushed to the fringes of galactic society, living in isolation and enduring constant derision. The Galactic Elite Academy, a symbol of cooperation and progress within Orionis, is a hallowed ground where the most exceptional individuals from every race converge. From towering, muscular Empyrean warriors to wise Xylonan scholars with unparalleled intellect, all come here to train, learn, and prove their worth. This institution is the crucible for future leaders, those who will shape the destiny of the galaxy. Surprisingly, and controversially, an Etherian student was accepted into the academy, Alara. Her presence immediately became a heated topic of discussion. Alara was slender, timid, with eyes that often betrayed fear and a perpetual sense of being out of place among the tall, steel-muscled warriors. She was the complete antithesis of the ideal academy student. Alara possessed no practical combat skills, couldn't even lift a basic sword, and displayed no particular physical prowess. Whenever she attempted to participate in physical exercises, her clumsiness and frailty were glaringly apparent. Alara's admission was often seen as a weakness of the academy, proof of the head council's overly inclusive and somewhat blind policy. Many openly claimed that Alara's acceptance was merely for the sake of superficial diversity, a political move rather than being based on any genuine merit worthy of such an institution. She was considered unworthy of her position, an insult to the other talented students. Every gaze directed at her was filled with doubt and contempt, and whispers of ridicule constantly echoed behind her, causing Alara to withdraw further, avoiding others and immersing herself in her own inner world. She was profoundly lonely in an environment where she simply did not belong. In stark contrast to Alara's fragile, out-of-place demeanor was Pax, a young warrior brimming with pride and self-assurance from the mighty Imperious Empire. The Empyrean race was renowned throughout the Orionis Galaxy for their extraordinary physical strength, unyielding willpower, and terrifyingly efficient, brutal combat skills. They were pioneers in every conquest, always leading the charge in every battle, and their history was written in blood and glory, in resounding victories and conquered territories. Pax was no ordinary strong Empyrean, he was a rising star, a military genius hailed by the entire empire as a living legend. He was the most worthy heir to Imperius's glorious and ruthless traditions, constantly seeking challenges worthy of his stature to assert his position in the galaxy. To prove that no one could rival his absolute power, Pax possessed a towering physique, bulging muscles, hawk-like sharp eyes, and an aura of confidence emanating from his every gesture. Pax regarded Alara with undisguised contempt. He openly derided the frail Etherian girl, believing her presence was an insult to the academy and the reputation of true warriors. He saw her admission as a ludicrous joke, an affront to the value of genuine fighters who had shed sweat and blood to earn their place. Pax frequently flaunted his superior strength, speed, and combat skills near Alara, deliberately performing powerful blows on training dummies, or executing lightning-fast maneuvers through complex obstacle courses, as if to emphasize the undeniable difference in superiority between a formidable Empyrean and a frail, useless Etherean. He believed Ethereans were a mistake of creation, and Alara was the clearest proof of that. Then, one fateful day, news so terrifying it paralyzed the entire Orionis Galaxy spread like wildfire, bringing with it ultimate fear and hopeless despair. The Void, an ancient entity of pure chaos and destruction, had awakened from its millennium-long slumber. This was no tangible foe, no physical monster or fleet of warships. The Void was an invisible, dark psychic force, untouchable by conventional weapons. It possessed the chilling ability to infiltrate and shatter the minds of all living beings, transforming them into soulless puppets controlled by their deepest fears and an overwhelming emptiness. When the Void emerged, it didn't attack with energy beams or artillery fire. It attacked by subtly creeping into the mind. The most powerful fleets of the Galactic Alliance, once deemed invincible with their dense energy shields and mass destruction weaponry, along with the most elite warriors from leading races, were all horrifyingly neutralized. The minds of thousands of mighty beings shattered into fragments, leaving behind derelict ships and lifeless bodies drifting aimlessly in cold space. No energy weapon could harm it. No physical shield could block its terrifying psychic infiltration. All attempts at resistance proved futile. Despair quickly engulfed the entire galaxy as the Void relentlessly advanced towards the Alliance's core planets, where the majority of the population, precious resources, and centers of power for all civilizations were concentrated. The mightiest races, once proud of their military strength and superior technology, now found themselves helpless, bowing their heads and awaiting an unavoidable, grim fate. Throughout the galaxy, cries of anguish resonated, as despair and fear enveloped every corner, like a dark, predetermined shroud covering the future of all life. All faith, all hope vanished before an enemy that could not be defeated by force. An enemy that struck at the very essence of consciousness, on the brink of complete annihilation, with every military plan and every advanced defensive technology having failed disastrously against the Void. The head council of the Galactic Elite Academy, once proud and confident in their power, now sank into deep despair. In a last, desperate effort, they decided to organize a special survival trial. This was a fragile hope, a slim chance to find one final spark of light before everything plunged into eternal darkness. The idea was to identify the most resilient individuals, those who possessed the ability to withstand the psychic invasion of the Void for even a short, precious amount of time, a few minutes or even a few crucial seconds. That brief window could be the decisive factor, providing the Galactic Alliance with a bit more time to evacuate the last remaining populations from the vital core planets, even if it was just a fraction of the billions of lives at stake. Pax, with his extraordinary willpower and iron discipline honed since childhood, was one of the most promising candidates, expected by both the Academy and the Alliance to perform a miracle. He believed this was the ultimate opportunity to prove the absolute superiority of the Empyrean race, whose psychic resilience far surpassed any other in the galaxy. With burning eyes and an unyielding resolve, he boldly declared that he would never give up, that he would protect the innocent until his last breath, using his body as the sturdiest shield against the Void's encroachment. When Alara timidly registered for the trial, the entire Academy erupted in loud, mocking laughter that echoed derisively through the hallways. Scornful remarks rang out ceaselessly. What can she do? A frail Etherean like her. Will she bore the Void into leaving with her weakness? How ridiculous and pointless. Pax was the first to scoff loudly, his eyes filled with contempt and anger, deeming it an ill-timed farce, an insult to the suffering of everyone. Even the head council hesitated, considering it a crazy act, a ludicrous joke in this moment of life and death. But according to the unyielding rules of the Academy, every student had the right to participate. They simply thought Alara was making a spectacle of herself, a utterly meaningless gesture. But no one could stop the small Etherean girl. The survival trial took place in an advanced simulated arena, specially designed to accurately replicate the terrifying psychic attacks of the void. This was an incredibly harsh environment, where contestants had to face and overcome a series of sophisticated psychological obstacles crafted to test the ultimate limits of their willpower and spirit. The challenges included confronting the most terrifying illusions from the depths of the subconscious. Nightmarish visions capable of shattering the mind, experiencing extreme loneliness, a profound emptiness in infinite space, and enduring whispers that pierced the mind, stirring up their deepest fears and most painful memories. Pax was the first to enter the arena and passed the initial stages with remarkable prowess. He utilized his extraordinary willpower and intense focus, honed through thousands of hours in rigorous Empyrean training programs, to repel the illusions. Whenever a horrific image appeared, he would use his powerful will to tear it apart, roaring to banish fear, demonstrating the astonishing resilience of the Empyrean race. He was like an unyielding fortress against the invasion of dread. The audience cheered enthusiastically, believing Pax was their only hope, the only one capable of facing the void. Meanwhile, Alara moved slowly, almost calmly, a stark contrast to the frantic pace of the other contestants. Sometimes, she seemed lost in her own thoughts, her eyes gazing distantly, her light footsteps almost silent. She did not resist the illusions with willpower or any form of struggle. But in a completely different, unexpected way, when a terrifying illusion appeared, instead of fighting it, Alara seemed to accept it, allowing it to pass through her body and mind, showing no signs of pain or fear. She did not repel, did not resist, but rather merged with them, letting them dissipate gradually, yet she was not controlled or harmed by them. The observers in the arena couldn't comprehend what was happening. They simply saw Alara continuing to advance calmly, even though she didn't seem to be fighting or resisting in any conventional manner. Many again assumed she was just lucky or using some mysterious, undetected trick, as her approach was too unconventional to be explained by science or physical strength. In the final round, the ultimate test of the trial, Pax faced the strongest simulated entity of the void. This was a colossal dark energy stream, a concentrated mass of consciousness capable of bending psychic reality and tearing apart the soul of any being it touched. He mustered all his willpower, creating the sturdiest mental shield an Empyrean could forge, a defense seemingly impenetrable, reinforced by pride and an undying resolve. But the simulated void was far more powerful than he thought, and crucially, it operated in a way Pax had never encountered. It didn't try to break Pax's shield through brute force or direct pressure. Instead, it sought to seep through the tiniest cracks, the invisible weak points in his mind, dormant vulnerabilities that even Pax himself was unaware of. It exploited his deepest fears and doubts, the anxieties of failure, of uselessness, of being unable to protect those he loved. Finally, no matter how resilient he was, Pax began to collapse. His head pounded, his body trembled uncontrollably. His mind plunged into chaotic turmoil amidst the terrifying hallucinations. Absolute willpower, once the pride of the Empyreans, proved insufficient against an invisible, untouchable foe that attacked the very essence of life, the very soul. When it was Alara's turn, she entered the arena in absolute silence, a scene in stark contrast to the aggressive roars and fierce determination of the other warriors. She created no shield, showed no signs of combat or preparation for an attack. Alara simply stood there, eyes closed, completely relaxing her body and mind, seemingly sinking into a deep meditative state, connecting with something intangible, beyond everyone's comprehension. Everyone thought she had given up, and this would be the sad end to her fragile performance. But then, a strange phenomenon, unprecedented in the galaxy's history, occurred. From Alara's slender body, a gentle, warm blue light emanated, spreading throughout the arena. This light was not meant to attack, but to connect with the simulated void entity. Alara opened her mind, not to fight the simulated void, but to understand it, to listen to its true nature, the pain and loneliness it carried. She transmitted feelings of peace, acceptance, and a deep longing for harmony, like a wordless symphony filled with compassion, touching the deepest emotional chords of the entity. The simulated void's core programming began to react in a confusing and unprecedented manner. It no longer emitted psychic attacks or terrifying illusions, but started to tremble violently, its energy circuits flickering erratically, indicating internal chaos and profound confusion. The horrific, frightening images it had created vanished completely, replaced by chaotic, painful memories of a solitary and abandoned existence in the boundless cosmos. A nature of hurt rather than pure destruction. The simulated machine staggered, its circuits sparking furiously, and finally, it collapsed entirely, ceasing all operations, like a being that had found peace after a long struggle. Everyone in the academy, from the proud Empyrean warriors to the wise Xylonan scholars, was stunned into silence. Not a single sound echoed in the arena, only pervasive astonishment. Even Pax couldn't believe his eyes. His gaze was filled with wonder, bewilderment, and a new, profound respect. Alara had used no violence, no physical force, yet she had neutralized the simulated void by understanding it and calming its mind. Through the power of compassion and psychic connection. This was not conventional physical strength, but a type of emotional power, a spiritual power, something previously unknown in the galaxy's doctrines of warfare or science. A deep, immense power hidden within the seemingly weakest beings. The head council, who had once scorned Alara and the Etherean race, now looked at her with awe, reverence, and absolute respect. A venerable professor, with a long white beard and profound wisdom, stood up, his voice trembling with emotion. We have made a grave mistake. A terrible mistake. The Etherean race is not weak at all. They possess a form of superior empathic and psychic understanding, a capability to manipulate minds through compassion that we have never witnessed. They simply haven't fully revealed that potential, and we have been too blinded by prejudice and the worship of physical strength to realize the truth. Alara explained in a soft, almost whispered voice, yet every word carried an astonishing weight and profound depth, echoing through the arena like a prophecy for the galaxy's future. We, the Ethereans, do not fight with fists or destructive weapons. We fight with deep perception. We fight with profound understanding. The void is not merely a mindless destructive force, a cruel entity, or a soulless machine of annihilation as we once believed. It also possesses a mind, a complex mind, trapped in pain, loneliness, and a misunderstanding of its own purpose of existence. It is like a lost child, known nothing but destruction to gain attention, to feel its own presence. But it is also vulnerable. If only we understand that vulnerability and touch its deepest core, its true nature, the part that yearns for peace and acceptance. With this earth-shattering revelation, the Galactic Alliance completely changed its strategy, a decision that was historical and permanently altered the course of the universe. Instead of sending combat fleets and elite armies to directly confront the void in an endless war, they decided on an unprecedented approach. They dispatched Alara and a small group of other Etherean students, who had been specially trained to maximize their unique psychic abilities, to approach and pacify the true void, right at its core. Pax, his pride deeply wounded by his failure but now filled with a newfound respect and admiration for Alara, volunteered to go with them. He no longer desired to fight as a proud Empyrean warrior, seeking glory through violence. Instead, he became a silent protector, a humble student, wishing to witness and learn from this different path, to understand a kind of power he had never known, a power that transcended all concepts of brute force. He understood that true strength lay not only in bulging muscles or advanced weaponry, but also in intellect, deep understanding, and compassion for the unknown, for the pain that even an enemy might carry, for the hidden truths beneath a terrifying exterior. When their ship, a small, stealth-equipped research vessel, gently entered the space dominated by the void, everything plunged into an ominous silence and utter emptiness. The colossal dark energy mass of the void was engulfing nearby stars and planets, creating a deadly vacuum where no life could exist. Alara showed no fear or hesitation. She simply stood at the ship's console, eyes closed, her mind completely open, without any defense or resistance. She expanded her consciousness, creating a powerful and complex psychic bridge with the destroyer. Alara made no attack, performed no aggressive action. Instead, she transmitted memories of peace, of the beauty of life existing in the galaxy, of the profound loneliness the void had endured through millennia of imprisonment and misunderstanding, and of the potential for rebirth, for harmony, an opportunity to end the destruction and find eternal rest. She touched the deepest core of the void's nature, an entity created to destroy, but deep within, yearned for peace and understanding from other beings, yearned for an end to the cycle of pain. Pax stood beside her, weapon ready in hand, acting as the sole physical shield, protecting her from any physical threat, while Alara performed her extraordinary mission, a mission to save the entire galaxy without bloodshed, without war, only through the power of compassion. This confrontation was not a bloody battle, with no laser fire or clashes of warships, no display of destructive armed might. It was a battle of souls, a trial of understanding, compassion, and the profound ability to connect minds. The void, for the first time in millennia of existing in chaos and pain, felt something other than the destruction and loneliness that had defined its existence. Its mind became utterly confused as strange feelings, glimmers of hope, permeated it, followed by intense pain as forgotten memories of a different past, a different nature, resurfaced, and finally, absolute peace. A profound, serene tranquility it had never known. It stopped, no longer attacking. The destructive dark energy around it gradually faded. The light of the stars it had obscured slowly became visible, and the destroyer the void was now merely a colossal, silent energy mass in space. No longer a threat, it had been pacified, it had found the rest it had always craved, and the galaxy was saved. This extraordinary event forever changed the perception of true power in the Orionis Galaxy. It was no longer solely about bulging muscles, ultimate destructive weapons, or the most advanced technology. Now, power was also defined by deep understanding, empathy from the heart, and the profound ability to connect mind to mind. A new era had begun, an era in which soul, spirit, and intellect were more respected than pure physical strength, and compassion was considered a more potent tool than any weapon. The Etherean race, once scorned and ranked lowest in all galactic power and influence charts, now became one of the most important and revered races in the Galactic Alliance. They were the ones who ushered in a new era of understanding, peace, and cooperation, an era where empathy and spiritual connection formed the foundation for all relationships. And what seemed weak actually held unexpected, immense potential. Pax and Alara became great symbols of interspecies cooperation, living proof that even the greatest differences and the deepest prejudices could lead to extraordinary and unforeseen outcomes. They demonstrated that if races learn to respect each other, to learn from each other's unique strengths, and to recognize the hidden value within each individual, all barriers could be broken, and every enemy could become an ally. Pax abandoned his purely warrior path, becoming a teacher, a new student, helping other races understand the power of the spiritual. The Orionis Galaxy learned a valuable, eternal lesson. Never judge a book by its cover. And sometimes, the greatest powers, the most magnificent salvation, lie in the most unexpected places. In the beings we once scorned and forgot. Concluding a challenging journey, it ushered in the dawn of a new galaxy. A future where all species could live in peace, understanding, and cooperation, together building an unprecedented era of prosperity in the history of the cosmos.